What's up, everybody? It's Sid and Millie back with another episode. Thank you so
Facts.
much for joining us. Today we'll be chatting about a new movie that has just come out in theaters. I don't know if it was today or when, but it just came
The
out.
31st, so.
Okay, so today,
Oh,
right?
perfect. Right.
Anyway, new movie came out today or
Today.
today. Nice. I don't know why I felt the need to include that, but
Yeah, whatever.
anyway, Spider-Man, Brand New Day. So the
Yeah,
next
yeah.
rendition of this new Spider-Man with Tom Holland.
Facts. Yeah, this was like the trilogy, I guess. I don't know if
Okay,
it is a trilogy. I don't know if they have more specific him movies,
got
but
it.
yeah, this was the third one. So
Yes. So yeah, went and saw it today. It was definitely an interesting, I guess, take on Spider-Man.
yeah, I mean, I think this movie was all encompassing. It had action, it had yeah, all of the typical Spider-Man things I think that you would expect, but they definitely leaned in on like the emotional strings a little bit as
Yeah,
well.
definitely.
There was a lot of build up in those emotional moments that took a little bit of time to kind of work through, I think. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was kind of interesting. I think, yeah, the way, exactly like you said, the way they went with the storyline, but I think overall it was like a pretty entertaining like movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, lots of action.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely a lot of like the emotional aspect as well,
Facts,
which had
facts.
its good moments for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Um, but they did introduce like a whole new like superhero and like or villain, I guess.
Right. Yeah,
Right?
yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hero, villain,
Yeah, it
we
depends
don't
on how
really
you want to
know.
look at
Yeah.
it.
But definitely not really unjustified, right? As we learned like
Yeah.
throughout the story. But yeah, it was a good film. I mean, I think all right. I think there's a lot we had a lot of notes,
Yeah, we
right?
have a
Like
lot of
I
notes.
definitely can appreciate, the whole thing with the MJ, with the best friend and the solidarity impacting
Mm-hmm.
stuff, but I don't know. I think I was a bit confused that we didn't really get to see, Peter Parker Spider-Man really honing in his arachnid powers
Yeah.
as they were spiking. I was a
Facts.
kind of confused as to why we kind of fast forwarded through him beating the ninjas initially, beating some of these.
Yeah, showing like his portfolio, I guess, as
Right,
Spider-Man of like the
yeah,
heroes that he has, or not the heroes, but like the villains he has been up against, the
right,
like different people that have, I guess, like terrorized the city that he
yeah,
has
yeah,
dealt with, you know.
exactly. And he got like the key of the city, but yeah, we kind of skated through all of
Yeah.
that. And I felt like that would have been a good opportunity, again, because this is pretty early in the film. I thought that would have been a good opportunity to be highlighting his newfound trouble that he was having,
Yes.
with his like spider puberty.
Facts.
Because yeah, I thought there was supposed to be like a molting process. They kind of hinted at it at one point.
On the TV, the
Yeah,
documentary about the spiders.
like
Yep.
molting, right? Yeah, so I was kind of expecting us to kind of see him go through that, like
Yeah.
learning how to hone those powers through experimentation, through different fights. But we
Facts.
didn't really get to see that as much. It was more so like in the heat of the moment, in the final fight, he
Yeah.
just like
Snapped
snapped
into
on.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I
so
think there was just so many different storylines happening
yeah, there
that
were a
they
ton of
just couldn't really
storylines.
like focus in on too many things.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think, even with Peter, I mean, right, like it had been 4 years. They obviously were playing on like the isolation,
Yeah.
leaning into the emotional reaction he had when he
Yeah.
eventually did see MJ and another guy kissed her, whatever.
Yeah.
And that sparked this emotional reaction. But again, like we know he was already going through this metamorphosis because of his
Mm-hmm.
spider genes.
Yeah.
So I felt like we could have, I don't know, seen more of that development and that
Definitely.
kind of coming to fruition at the end.
Facts.
Because I would have loved to see more of that intensity and stuff utilized throughout the film, right? Like when he was fighting the Hulk and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would have been cool to see that fight without the damper on,
Yes, true.
because we finally got to see like the true Hulk come out,
I know, like the
the
true
true
Hulk.
Hulk.
Yeah.
And so it would have been sick to see like Spider-Man utilizing all of his extent of his power,
Facts.
in order to fight the Hulk. I feel like that would have been a really cool thing to see. But again, that fight scene
Definitely.
was kind of rushed.
It
It
was.
was a
Yeah, it
little bit
was super
rushed. It
quick.
was like like less than 2 minute
Yeah.
fight scene.
It was so
Um,
quick.
yeah, which
And
was
there was a
fine.
lot. There was a
Uh,
lot that, right?
yeah,
Because then it was also about like how the woman could possess the Hulk, but not Spider-Man.
right.
So it was
Which
like, what
also,
was the difference? I guess like, why isn't the Hulk's brain able to push her out the way that
right,
Spider-Man's
right. And we
was?
know that the Hulk usually doesn't allow people to mess with Bruce Banner's like head either.
Mm.
Like typically, if people go into Bruce Banner's head, they find the Hulk. So that's typically
Ah,
what happens when people try to like mess with his psyche.
got
So
it.
yeah, it
Okay.
was a bit confusing. I know they obviously were talking about the dampener and stuff like that. But again, they kind of made it seem like, Bruce Banner didn't have as much control over Hulk as they've tried to display in these previous movies.
Yeah. It
It
was like
seemed
a
like,
whole different person.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, like they definitely made him seem more like afraid of Hulk. So I think it's probably time for a Hulk film.
I
But
know. Give
again,
us a
like,
little more insight on that.
right, because what's happened since Endgame, when he was, with the whole Thanos thing, obviously
Mm-hmm.
Hulk was like afraid to come out and they had to go through all that stuff to get Hulk to
Okay.
show his face.
Yeah.
But still, like, even the Hulk that fought Thanos is not the Hulk that we just saw in this
Okay.
Spider-Man day.
Was
Like,
he
with the
like,
size and the intensity and the anger,
got
like,
it? He was like bigger and stronger in this movie than he was in
yeah.
the other
So I
one.
guess there's a big difference between when like Bruce Banner is like in control of Hulk's power,
Got
but
it.
it's not necessarily Hulk like in control.
But
Um,
today, we're like in the Spider-Man one, it was
right.
like Hulk
Hulk
fully in
fully,
control.
because Bruce Banner was like, she messed with something in there.
Mm,
He said, I think she broke something,
that's
and that was when Hulk
right.
fully came out.
Ah, she like
Um,
severed the connection
Exactly,
almost.
yeah. Or whatever control mechanism Bruce was
Yeah.
using. But I still feel like, that would have been such a good moment for us to see Spider Man utilizing these new powers, this new strength, this new
Yes.
heightened thing to really like combat Hulk and bring him down, with his
Facts.
own like thing. So I thought that was a little bit of a missed opportunity.
Yeah, no, I do agree
Um,
with that.
but anyway, I guess maybe you want to go give us like a brief overview of like La Plot of what was
Okay,
going on.
so yeah, so basically, I mean, there were a lot of different plots
Yeah,
kind of
I guess
going
the
on. There
one
was
with
like,
Jean.
okay, so I was like the underlying plot with the friends and
Right. I
MJ, but
guess like
then
going
like,
from the start of the movie from like what we know. So essentially about like the attacks and stuff like that.
okay, so yeah, she was targeting this like damage control facility
Right.
basically, and then so Jean's whole thing, we kind of learn more about her later, but
Yeah.
essentially um Spider-Man is trying to figure out what's going on because people are essentially committing these crimes that and then forgetting about it essentially. Like, is
Right.
that how you would explain it?
Yeah, yeah, because like we saw it, it was kind of early on. We saw like the tank, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
tank was like unstoppable and it's busting through the city and all that stuff. And yeah, when they eventually stop it, it's like an old woman who had been
Yes.
like, her mind got taken control of.
Right.
But essentially, yeah, the main like villain that they tried to pose as the villain, Jean, she's trying to track down her sister. She's trying to find
Yes.
where this detention center is holding her sister. But essentially, early on in the movie, we're kind of getting the backstory that in Spider-Man's 4 years of solidarity, he's just blindly working with the police. He's just like
Yes.
a police pony boy. He's just solving their crimes, bringing down
Got their
these
like crime
villains.
scanner on his phone and
Yeah,
everything.
exactly. He's just doing everything. And so he eventually goes down to visit someone who is at, what would you say that department was called?
Damage control, I think,
Damage
or something
control.
like that.
But essentially, we learned that this damage control facility, they are trying to reverse engineer all the technology that the villains are using. We also
And the
learn, and the
superheroes.
superheroes, yes, because we also learn that they are had made technology to fight against Spider-Man as well. We
Mm-hmm.
figure that out later in the film. But yeah, this damage control facility, it has been attacked consistently. Like different of their locations keep getting attacked.
Yep.
And so yeah, so Spider-Man goes down to be like, yo, what's going on here? Why are you guys getting attacked so much? So that was kind of what was in the foreground, at
Yes.
least. And yeah, so Jean was using her mind control ability. Can you explain the mind control thing that she was doing?
I mean, it was kind of like she was possessing the bodies,
Mm,
but she only had like a certain amount of range, I guess. So she almost
facts.
like threw her consciousness into different people,
Right.
and yeah, like she could then jump from person to person
Like
to
hop,
like,
yeah.
yeah, to like possess bodies basically to do her dirty work, I guess.
Right. And if you've seen someone like trip before, that's kind of like the motion that people would make if they were like, if
Right.
she was like jumping through them, they'd be like, oh,
Yeah,
you
you could
know,
see like her like she was almost using them to like throw her consciousness or something. It
facts.
was like that's
Yeah.
what it looked like. So then they were like
Right.
leaning over and falling towards the direction that she was throwing herself.
Facts. And then she was able to like speak through the people she was
Yeah.
possessing as well. And so essentially she was utilizing all of these random people and sometimes another villain like the Scorpion she used the
Mm-hmm.
one time, and she essentially was using them to try and attack these facilities to try and find her sister.
Yes,
um
exactly.
but what, yeah, I guess like there was the one incident where she was possessing the Scorpion or something, and she was like, you can't notice me anymore to Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, because that was after he was, well, because he started by getting all these headaches and everything, not really understanding what was going on. And
Right.
like then after he had blacked out for the first time and
Right.
like was not really able to control the arachnid and like
Yeah.
actual, I guess, like human hormones, I guess, that he had,
Right.
he was unable, he like didn't have his spidey sense anymore, almost was how
Got
I was
it.
taking it, because he was like unable to tap into that because the arachnid, I guess, genes were like too strong for him to.
Got it. But I guess like I was kind of confused about that because then he had all that heightened awareness when he was in like the black eye mode, you know,
Right, but he wasn't.
able to track like the consciousness shifting.
Right.
So maybe that was like more his human instincts that were tracking the consciousness switching,
I
right?
don't
I
know.
don't
I
know.
thought it
I
was
don't
the other
know.
way
Oh, the
around.
other
Like
way
his
around.
human part, like form, wasn't able to track it anymore after he had switched the first time. I guess I'm
After he
forgetting the
switched.
sequence of events
Okay,
now, so I
yeah,
don't know. I am not sure.
whatever. I mean, it's all speculation. But yeah, I was
Yeah.
just saying that when he was in the heightened state, and I know when he was fighting the Scorpion, but it was really like Jean possessing the Scorpion,
Right.
and she just made that comment about, "Oh, you can't even tell it's me. Like, what's going on with you?"
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he had obviously like powered up, like beat the crap out of the Scorpion, like
Mm-hmm.
was very violent and over aggressive. But it was, yeah, interesting that at that moment he couldn't tell who this person
Yeah.
was. But the first time he had interacted with the ghost person, which was Jean, he was able to like track her movements. But
Yeah.
it was interesting when, yeah, his spider senses were increased. He was no longer able to like
Right.
track those movements.
Yeah, because he couldn't like integrate it into his, he couldn't figure out how to like use both.
Right. Yeah. And yeah, I feel like that again. Well, anyway, so that was kind of when we're seeing like a lot of this, like, I guess, combat
Yeah.
early on in the film, which was like the action was great. Like
Yeah, it was
they
really
did a
good.
fantastic job with the cinematography.
Yeah.
Like every fight scene, every battle, you really felt like you were in it, you
Yeah. I
know?
mean, how did you feel about the swinging between buildings?
Look, it was triggering my fear of heights. Like
Yeah.
that's how like in it you really felt. Like you
Yeah.
felt like you were the one grabbing on the rope, like swinging with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They really put you like right in it. It was like that first person POV where like, yeah, it was as if you were Spider-Man swinging. And
Yes.
like with some of the drops, you're like, oh, and then you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they
Like,
did a
yeah.
lot of that. They did a lot
Yeah.
of that.
So those elements were like
They did
really,
a good
really
job.
cool. Yeah, they did a great
Sony, they
job with
should
it.
do,
Yeah. The
certain
cinematography.
expectations with that.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. But I guess like also with it, like I was a little bit confused as to why, like, you know, Peter also with the work he was doing with like the police and this agency, he wasn't really going outside of that to
Yeah.
investigate, you know, never tried to talk to Jean or like understand her motives or
Right.
like get to the root of the issue. Obviously, they were able to communicate later on in the movie when he
Right.
eventually allowed her
At the
into his
very end,
consciousness.
yeah.
Right. And then they, again, it was a nice emotional moment.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a very like heartstring pulling moment when they were
Defo.
able to connect over the fact they had both lost important people to them.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like had that been revealed a little bit earlier on, potentially Jean and Spider-Man could have like
Works
worked
together.
together to bring
Yes.
down the guy that she eventually was about to kill at the end.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
inevitably he was the kind of final boss.
Right. There were
Right.
like two separate villains in the
Right.
movie. Like
Yeah.
Jean, who was kind of a villain until you learned more about her.
Right.
And then the what was it called? The damage control. Their
Right.
like department head or whatever. He was kind of like the other villain because he was the one that was I don't know if we mentioned already, like her sister getting kidnapped.
Right. Oh
Like,
no, no.
no, okay,
Yeah,
so that's
yeah.
my
We
bad.
said
But
we were she was looking for her sister
yeah,
though.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. But yeah, so like he was her villain basically.
right.
And like so she was very justified in what she was going after, but to
Exactly.
our
Can't even be
perspective,
mad
the
at
way
Jean.
no, not at all. The way they were portraying it to us made her look like a villain as well.
Right.
Um
Yeah.
it was
Especially
kind
early
of
on.
like, as you're sitting there, you're like, okay, but there's obviously a reason why she's doing this. Like
Right.
nobody just doesn't like has no motive,
Right. Exactly.
and it's like,
Exactly.
yeah, so Spider-Man definitely could have tried to figure that out a little bit more
Right.
than
And I
just being
mean,
like, what's VMAX?
I know, yeah. And then like in the 4 year time again, like he hadn't coped with his losses with the people at like literally at all.
Mm-mm.
To the point where as soon as she like mentioned, like obviously again, he was so loose with that note, just leaving that
Yeah,
note everywhere,
I know.
anywhere for people to find it. It's
I
like he was planting it
know.
himself. But yeah, so it's like, he got figured out, like, the main Gene figured out who he was,
Yeah,
figured out who was important to him, and then threatened, like,
MJ.
MJ.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that is what triggered Peter to kind of get more involved and
Yeah.
essentially go, like, grab MJ.
Yep, went and grabbed
Um,
MJ, but Jean got there first.
right. Yeah. That
So
was
that
crazy.
was
And we
crazy.
were we were sitting there and we were like, "Oh, MJ's not even afraid swinging
I know,
through
not
Manhattan for
nervous,
the
not
first time."
like screaming or like nothing, no nerves at all,
Right.
just silent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then they like
that was
got there
weird.
and kissed and all that stuff,
Yeah, they
but
kissed, which was also crazy. Come on, Jean, girl.
I know,
That
yeah,
was messy. That
that
was
was crazy.
messy.
That was crazy. But also, like Peter, again, at that point, he couldn't really tell when
No,
Jean was possessing people anymore,
no.
because again, his like emotions or levels or whatever were all out of whack.
Yeah,
Which again, we
facts.
didn't really get to see that metamorphosis happen for him. That like becoming an adult spider, it kind
Right.
of just happened at the end.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah, like he had the whole thing where he was now like shooting webs out of his skin and like
right.
had the, I guess like the organic matter
Right.
of
And
like
I
the
just
web
I
juice.
didn't understand why he was trying to fight that so hard.
I
Like I
know.
mean like obviously it'd be one thing if he was like losing himself and like I don't know, like truly injuring people, you know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like that. It's like the webs were clearly stronger. They were thicker. They like had a lot of stuff. And when he was in that mode, he had increased strength and like visibility around him.
Yeah.
So from my perspective, I was just a bit confused as to why he went the route of like trying to dampen his own power instead of trying to figure his own power out.
Yeah, I guess like when he was fighting the scorpion and like slammed it on the cop car and like hurt the police officer was his like reckoning with
I'm
that.
like,
I know.
one officer, bro, when you were running into the buildings and all that debris was falling down to the streets of Manhattan and landing on people below that they didn't show us. Brother, trust me, you've had casualties
Yeah.
before. We've seen what the Avengers have done to New York City.
Yeah.
So why are we acting like this is a new thing? We know that people are getting injured in
Mm-hmm.
every scenario that involves the superheroes. Even the Punisher in this movie firing the rockets through the city. I mean, come on, guys.
I
So to
know.
pretend like injuring that one poor officer was a good enough excuse to then not even try to figure out your
I
powers and
know.
instead try and suppress them, that
Insane.
makes no sense to me.
No, not at all. The spider powers fought back
Yeah,
immediately. They
yeah, they
didn't,
did. Well, yeah,
yeah, I mean, I know he was able to dampen them and everything for a
right,
little while, but he obviously
right.
had
And
to.
it's just like, you know, also creating that technology. I mean, what the Hulk's guy, I forget what his name is.
Bruce Banner.
Bruce Banner, you know, kind of warned him, like, yo, this is something that could suppress anyone's power. Like, low key, this
Yeah,
is dangerous. And he
right.
still went
He
ahead and just
still did it.
created the technology.
Yes, because that's like the
Ah,
whole, I mean, that's the whole thing with, I guess, like private groups like selling weapons, it's
right.
like that's probably
Yeah.
what he was thinking about,
Right.
that like this guy who's asking him about his suppressor is
Yep.
gonna go and make something and sell it to the government,
Right.
because they would
Yeah.
they would eat that up.
They would.
They
They
would eat it
would. They
up.
would love that.
And yeah, so he was rightfully worried about something like that
Exactly.
going, like being created and going onto market and like things
Right.
like that.
Yeah, and I guess like for me, I was just you know, Peter was again very like focused on his plan, but I just felt like, why are you blindly trusting the police like this, my guy?
And
Like,
this like government
yeah,
agency.
it's like, did you not learn anything from Avengers Civil War when you were fighting along Tony Stark? And, you know, half the Avengers were essentially like, we're not going to follow these rules to the T because they don't make sense. And they fought against the Avengers that were trying to follow the rule. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he was a part of that. So for
Yeah.
them to him be turned around and blindly trusting the police and not even trying to understand the other person's, you know what I mean? Like this wasn't like I don't know, a Doctor Doom scenario, right? Like, you
Mm.
know, it was a small potato, like the Russian woman said. It's
Yeah.
a small potato, right? There's no major damage happening in New York City.
Right.
However, there is still like a major plot developing. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I lost my train of
Oh
thought.
no. But yeah, I know. I was trying to think. I lost your train of thought too. um, but yeah, I feel like there was a lot left to be desired with regards to his development and like
Yeah.
morphing into the spider for sure.
Yeah.
Because, like, again, why are you dampening that power? Why are you
Yeah.
creating something that can dampen anyone's power? Because we
Right.
saw what that led to
Right.
with as soon as they actually got that onto the
Exactly, but
mind
also
reader.
like, you know, the X-Men already played this out in a whole other Marvel timeline. You
Oh,
know what I'm
really?
saying? Yeah, with the whole guns that can take away the powers and stuff. Like the X-Men
Oh,
already did this
okay.
on the mutant side. And that's what I'm saying.
So it's
It's
like a
just like,
recycled storyline
yes,
almost, but like a
yes,
different
exactly. They just
version.
put a little twist on it, but
Yeah.
it was recycled. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then like
okay.
the same thing, that's the same way I was feeling about like the whole, you know, corrupted government agency that kidnapped or killed someone's family member. It's like, how many more times do we have to see that? Like,
Yeah,
when can it just be about the people
I
like in
know.
the film fighting
Like,
and stuff?
tell us who the real villain is. Like,
Right, and build up to that. Like I was kind of
yes.
expecting, all right, the guy, they kind of hinted at the technology. You know, he had the ninjas there. That was suspicious
Yep.
after Spidey locked them up. And then it's like, yeah, we didn't really have like a final boss because again, like our final boss, we were cheering for. Like I was
Facts.
saying to do it when she had all the glass around
I
his neck.
know.
I was like, do it,
He
right?
killed your
We don't know
sister,
why
literally.
they're doing these tests. We don't know why they're creating these weapons. We didn't get any insight on literally any of that. And
No.
so for me, do it, girlie. She had every justification to do it. Eye for an eye, do it.
Yeah, that's
Boom,
valid.
blocka. But yeah, and then it's again like, then you've got the Punisher in this movie for some reason.
Yeah, because who is he?
He's just like another Marvel character, like very traumatic story, lost his
Okay.
family. There's like an old Punisher film from like back in the day. We could watch that. It's like
Okay.
the OG Punisher, but
Okay.
yeah, just like one of those like kind of like vigilantes. But yeah, he doesn't have powers or anything. Just
Got
like a
it.
gun. Exactly what we
What
saw.
we saw, he's
Um,
like a some whatever for hire, like, or not really
No,
like
he's
for
just on the
hire,
side of
but
justice. Yeah,
okay,
he's just like a justice fighter. He just does it
okay,
in a very brute force type of way.
got it.
Doesn't have like the money of Batman and obviously no powers, so he's just like
Guns.
guns. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, just confused about that. I don't know. I'm not. I know Marvel has a bunch of shows and stuff. I
Oh
haven't
yeah,
kept
I know
up.
they had like
Um,
said something about saving his life on Staten Island or
Right.
something,
So
so
maybe
like
that
they
was
had
like
a
a reference to
connection
the show
there.
or something.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess I just didn't understand that. Like Spider-Man, obviously key guy, key character, the Punisher, the friendly fire almost killing Spider-Man
Yeah,
with a sniper rifle from distance. Like what?
I
I just
know.
feel like that is not very Spider-Man. Again, I'm not like I've not read every single comic or anything
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
of
So I
course.
don't know if that was like comic canon that they were trying to like sprinkle in
Got
there to
it.
like really, make the Marvel heads
Right.
happy or whatever.
Okay.
Because I saw something on Twitter where it was like the same image from the comic and then the movie where the Punisher was carrying Spider-Man into the
Oh.
hospital.
Okay.
But
So
it,
I guess that probably is to your point what that was
yeah, but
from.
a friendly fire sniper rifle bullet, like, you
I
know what I mean? Like,
know.
that just like, I don't know. For all the bullets that we saw fired in the movie, it just seemed kind of crazy that that's the one that hit its target.
I know. Well, I know, yeah, because of course, yeah, he tried like saved her from getting shot and like
Right,
shielded her.
right.
But yeah, like you said, it actually hit the target.
Right.
So
Yeah. And like for me, like again, why was the Punisher trying to do that? What
I
was the
know, and
purpose?
Spider-Man explicitly told him multiple times not
Go
to
do
shoot
this.
her.
Yeah.
And he
So
said, I'm doing it.
yeah,
Okay,
doing it my
bro.
way. Okay,
Like,
boomer. Thanks
literally.
for listening to anybody else's perspective. It took Spider-Man almost dying for him to be like, my bad, bro.
I
Next time
know.
I won't think with my trigger finger
I
first. And
know.
it's just like, yeah, that's what he was telling you the entire movie. But
Facts.
you know what I mean? Again, I'm not trying to like hate on it. I just don't understand it. It just took
Yeah.
away from like the spider metamorphosis that we were supposed to see.
Yeah, definitely. I think because they were cutting between so many different storylines, we lost a
Yes.
lot of the actual details of what
Yes.
Peter Parker slash Spider-Man was going through. Because it
Yeah.
was like, yeah, to your point, if like him and Jean had like paired up earlier and he figured out what was going on and knew who like the real villain was,
Right.
she could have been more of like a side character for his
Yeah.
storyline. But instead, it
Exactly.
was like two separate
Villain. Yeah.
storylines, and like we
Exactly.
were following
Overlapping.
her and following him, but it was separate. So it was like half the movie was about her
Yep.
and half was about Spider Man.
Spider-Man. Right.
So yeah, you kind of lost a little bit of the actual details and diving into what Spider Man was
Was
going
dealing
through with
with.
regards to
Yeah.
his metamorphosis.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that was definitely something that I was a little bit, disappointed about. Which
Yeah,
again, like I do feel like they did well with the emotional elements and stuff.
definitely.
But and like those definitely pulled on the heartstrings. But
Yeah.
it wasn't really giving like the Spider-Man.
Yeah, like there
Um,
wasn't, yeah. And like I feel like when he did like black out in his spider
Room.
form, why
Yeah.
didn't we get to see
Why?
any of
That would
that?
have
Like
been
we
so
were
cool to
talking
see the
about
web
how,
shooting out of it and shit,
yeah,
like
like
through
the
the skin
first time, yeah,
pores. That would have been
right.
so
Like
cool.
what was that looking like? And then he woke up in a cocoon. We've
Yeah,
never seen him be in a cocoon before.
no,
But how did he do that?
that
He
would have
was
been so cool
basically
to
naked in the
see.
street.
Yeah,
Like
that would have been
that would have been
sick.
crazy.
Yeah,
How did he get there?
yeah, I
You
agree. That
know,
would have
like
been
that
really
could have been some
cool.
also like comedic relief edition. You know,
Yeah,
I know the
facts.
cocoon was the comedic relief edition of
Right.
like,
Yeah.
oh, what in the world? Like that's funny.
Yeah.
But it would have been cool to also see like what was happening before
Yeah,
that.
100%. And like okay, like the let's go through kind of how we would have shaped it if
Okay.
we were taking what they did but kind of reorganizing the film
Yes.
that in a way that made more sense because
Okay,
I do
yes.
think they did a phenomenal job with the action scenes.
Defo.
The action scenes were fantastic. The issue is that we needed more of them. We needed
Mm-hmm.
more of that action, more of that fight, more of that darkness from
Yeah.
Spider-Man so we could truly understand what was happening. So for
Facts.
me, what I was expecting, I guess out the gate, right, we immediately start with the fight with the Scorpion, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that moment, the dark Spider-Man, whatever, that power takes over and he goes a little bit crazy. And
Mm.
at that moment, from literally the first minute of the movie, we will know he's dealing with some metamorphosis, right? Then we can get into the fact that he's been lonely, that he's been sad. You
Yeah.
know, don't start on that, you know? Then we can get into the sadness, the loneliness. But then, you know, that he's keeping up with the friends anyway,
I
right?
know, yeah,
Let's not
following him
pretend like
around.
he's not stalking his old girlfriend and best friend.
Yeah.
So why not just make it one of those things where he's watching wa-
Go ahead.
watching him watching them. The lighting's not too bad, babe.
Okay.
Okay. All
There's also.
right.
Yes.
You could just do it where like bro is just watching them from like the window or watching them from somewhere where we know he's stalking them and
Mm-hmm.
sees something like that happen anyway. Then when that happens, boom, emotional spiral happens.
Yeah.
Sees the woman with someone else. Again, this could have all happened in the first 30 minutes,
Facts.
right? So we do that. The emotional spiral begins. These dark powers start
Yes.
unfolding. Then we get to see some more of these fights. So we see him fight I forget some of those other villains that they showed just minute clips of.
Yeah.
You know, the ninjas. Their fight
I
sequence was
That was so
unbelievable.
cool.
It was sick. They were doing flips. They were jumping off each other to jump
Yes.
higher. And
I know.
oh man,
More
we
of
needed more
that.
of that. So I would have put the ninjas up front. Let's see them fight Spider-Man initially
Yes.
and have him be utilizing his dark powers, but a little bit more uncontrolled, right?
Yeah.
In the beginning,
True.
because again, he's dealing with this on the side.
Facts.
So it should have been like seeing him uncontrolled, not sure how to hold back yet, kind of injuring people seriously. Okay, I get you guys didn't want anybody to die, but he could break someone's arm. I mean,
Yeah.
God, we can't even hear a crack in a Spider-Man movie. My God, he's throwing people into brick walls and we're not even hearing a bone crack. That doesn't make any sense to me. So
also getting thrown into brick walls. And
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. And I mean, yeah, like he'll obviously be more durable
Right.
because he's a Spider-Man, but these other humans, like we should be seeing some stuff cracking and breaking when they're falling on the ground, rolling around after he punches them.
Also very true.
Again. And so I think some of that could have been added on with the ninjas, with the things early, right? Then we could get into why these people are popping up.
Yes.
So Spider-Man, again, while dealing with this stuff, while getting in trouble with the police because he keeps kind of over-injuring people and stuff like that, again, because he's just learning how to use these dark powers. None of that BS trying to dampen and control his... What?
The technology.
Come on, man. Yeah. Come on, man. Tony Stark is in the ground. Leave all of the, you know, Iron Man suit stuff alone. Yeah. You're the Spider-Man. Embrace it. You know what I mean? Stop trying to bring all the tech in the...
I know. Like wouldn't you want your webs? Because we were talking about in the movie theater. I was like, I feel like they used to have them shooting out of the arm.
Right, with Tobey Maguire.
And then they went on to do that with this one. Because, yeah, I was like, I don't understand why they ever went away from that.
Right. Yeah. I literally don't understand it. Because, yeah, the Tobey, that is the real, like, spider way. You expect a spider to be wielding like that. So, again, I didn't understand... Isn't that dead though?
Yep, I need to untwist it.
Oh, so I'll never understand like his resistance to being a more natural like webber. I just don't understand that.
I don't
Bro, you're using some carbonated artificial material to sling your webs, and now you have the opportunity to do it naturally, and
you're just not even trying.
Just don't understand that. So I think it would have been really cool again if he was fighting some of these people throughout with that dark power instead of trying to suppress it. That way we would have actually gotten to see how his power developed in this like dark mode.
Fully agree.
Got to see how his webbing got more dynamic, see how his webbing developed, and see how he even learned that cool move. It's just like you can't just have someone do their character arc and they learned all the cool stuff right at the end, you know?
No.
I feel like we could have seen that developing. We could have had him you know, in a fight scene with the ninja, could have had it like explode and over like, you know, over web an entire area or something like that.
Genuinely.
And so like, and then in the final fight scene, then he could have it more controlled. So yeah, I would have liked to see more of that along the way. And then more of Spider-Man using his own kind of intuition with his investigations.
Yes.
I feel like
honestly,
a Spider-Man would have more so been like, all right, you know what? this person's talked to me a couple times. Let me try and figure out their motives. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like they threaten MJ. Well, let me find out what's important about them and then
I
talk. You know,
know.
like I feel like he waited very long to figure out, like who Sarah was. But it's just like,
Yeah.
bro, you had multiple conversations with the villain at that point in the movie, and at no point did you try and ask, why are you doing this?
Right.
That's
I
like the
know.
most basic question to ask.
Crazy. Just
Hey,
like, hey, what's going on here?
why
Why
are
are you trying
you?
to break into this building?
Yeah,
Instead, he's just like, what's VMAX? And
right.
then it's like nobody
Yeah,
knows what it is. So then
yeah.
there's no conclusion to like
No,
what his question is.
exactly. Because I feel like, again, if Spider-Man would have had that insight, we could have seen something where he's trying to get to the answer as well. And then we could have seen the director of the, what was the place called?
The damage control or
Damage
something.
control. It was kind of foreshadowing that he would have some sort of mecha suit that incorporated all the elements of the villain. So could have had
Mm.
a big mecha suit with the shock arms, the scorpion tail, and stuff like that. And it
Oh,
kind of was building that up, and then had the ninjas as his supporting kind of bodyguard cast. That's what I
dang.
was expecting at the
That's
end,
pretty
because then it would have been
crazy.
Spider-Man and her, and then I guess the Punisher, since he was around for
Right.
whatever reason. I guess he could have been there. It could have been those three versus the ninja and the mecha suit guy. You
Yeah,
know, like that was where I
interesting.
thought it was going, because they kind of hinted that he was having all this technology, and there
Right,
were
the
something like,
damage control guy. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I,
Yeah, because they did show all of that right when like
mm-hmm.
Spider-Man first went to the department
Yep,
to try and like see what was going on. But
facts.
again, yeah, he only communicated with like the government agencies versus trying to
Yeah,
communicate with the other like
super
super
person.
person. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, bro, have a conversation. She's chatted to you multiple times when she was in MJ's body. You know, all of those times would have been perfect instances to be like, why are you doing this? What's your motivation?
Yeah.
Like, please stop. Like, I don't want to fight you. I don't want to hurt you. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? That sort of thing. And then they could have gone after the real bad guy, which is the guy who killed her sister and was running this dark department, you
Facts.
know?
Yeah. And she was
Um,
definitely playing games with Spider-Man because
for
she knew
sure.
he was working with the department. So
For
she
sure.
also saw him as like a villain in her story.
Right. But you see, and that's why in my version, his emotional and like dark Spider-Man stuff would have started earlier, because
Mm-hmm.
she was able to sense that instability in
That's
him.
true.
And so I feel like she would have been able to like address that sooner in the
Yep.
movie.
Help him push through it a lot earlier.
Exactly
Yeah.
right, because she was able to sense that.
Definitely.
Because again, like it needed to be a situation of metamorphosis, him
Mm-hmm.
becoming a spider infant essentially, or what's the midway
Oh,
point?
like he was going through puberty basically.
Right, like becoming an adult spider. That's
Yep.
what we were supposed to see. And so yeah, I feel like there was a lot left on the table with
Defo.
some of his powers. I'm curious, what are his new
I
powers? What are
know.
they? Like, you know, we only got to see a brief moment of
Yes,
his
and like we
power.
didn't get to see any moments. I mean, we saw his overstimulation, but we didn't see anything where he was trying to figure out how to hone that and like how to
Right.
figure out, how to key in on different sounds and then block
I
out other
know.
sounds and not be so
And they were trying to
overstimulated.
overstimulate us with the computer.
I know.
I forget what it was even saying
What were
though, but
the about
his
the
computer, about all the stimulation.
Oh, yes. I
Um,
know. You are overstimulated. You
right.
are
Yeah,
overstimulated.
it's
And we
like
were like, oh
thanks.
shit.
Yeah,
I
thanks, man.
overstimulated in the
Right.
theater.
Like, give us a break. So yeah, it would have been cool to like see that from his perspective, like through his eyes, and then like see him, I don't know, like focus on something, or I
Yeah,
don't
like I
know.
get,
Like,
yeah, and like they did that the first time he experienced the overstimulation, but again, it
okay.
didn't, but I'm saying like it didn't show him figuring out how
Hmm.
to control his stimulation and like focus, like decide what to focus in on or how to.
Oh, you didn't want any.
Oh, well, I'll have some. That's okay. I'm just because I
My
was
bad.
talking right
Yeah, yeah.
now. No, but they didn't. I'll hold it for a second. They didn't show him. They didn't show him like actually learning about how to not just like switch between different things because it
Right.
showed the water droplet and then like
Yeah.
the chip bag and
Right.
like those two things were super loud
Right.
and keyed in his brain, but
Yeah.
that was the only time they really showed us him like locking in on specific stimuli.
Right.
But they didn't
Yeah.
show like, oh, this is how I'm gonna figure out how to control that or anything.
Exactly, yeah, because he just had the dampener on for so
Mm-hmm.
long. As soon as he figured out how to do the dampener, he just kept it on.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was a little bit disappointing that he was suppressing that power and didn't allow us to kind of see the training and understanding of it unfold.
Yeah.
To then again, to go from not understanding it, being afraid of it, and using technology to suppress it, to then somehow flicking off the technology and then being able to perfectly use the powers that you were just suppressing. It
Yeah.
just doesn't make
I
sense.
know. It's like her thing that she was saying, like,
Mm-hmm.
clicked something in his head. But again, it's like we didn't see any of his
Yeah.
process of like figuring it out. I
Yeah.
mean, so yeah, left a
Yeah.
lot to be
I mean, I
desired.
know they showed like when he was swinging and stuff, he was struggling with the swinging, like
Right.
without, again, with like the natural webs.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
again, that was like very early on. And then
Yeah.
as soon as he put the dampener on, it was just back to the
Back to
technology.
that,
Yeah.
right. And then whenever like MJ got kidnapped or whatever and he was
Right.
like taking her back, he could all of a sudden swing
I
perfectly. And we
know.
were like,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah. We were like, oh, I
man.
guess he was practicing on the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, then the ninjas kind of forced his hand because they
Yep,
broke all of his technology.
that's
So he literally
right.
had no options because he can't use
The
with the
organic web.
exactly when he has the dampener on, he doesn't have the organic web. So as soon as the ninjas broke his technology, he kind of
He
had
was
to do it.
cooked.
So it wasn't even like he wanted to use that power. He basically was forced
Yeah,
to.
they forced his
Um,
hand.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then we had the whole thing where like I mean, she kept him alive basically
right after he
by
got shot.
right because her power, Jean's power, grew exponentially during the whole torture scene of her where she was
Yes.
getting tortured.
That was crazy. And then
Yeah,
she realized that her sister was dead because he had said at the beginning, before they started testing her power,
yeah,
Jean's power,
yeah.
he was basically saying, like, how she made a sacrifice, Sarah, her sister,
Right,
like she made a sacrifice to figure out like how the brain waves work basically.
right.
And it
Yeah,
was just straight up torture.
yeah. Just
It was
torture.
straight up torture.
Yeah,
And like so basically in this moment Jean realized this was the last place her sister ever existed and like was alive
yeah,
because I guess when she must have been dying, she was looking up at some air vent and it said VMAX on it.
yeah.
So that was like the last thought she had in her head, which projected to her sister telepathically.
Yep.
And that was why she was looking for VMAX the whole
Right.
time.
Right. Yeah. So that was yeah what her sister was looking for, whatever
Mm-hmm.
VMAX was. But she
Right.
eventually ended up finding it when
Yep.
she was in the same torture device that killed her sister.
Yep. So
Um,
then how did her like powers increase? Because they were mapping all her brainwaves and
yeah.
then it
Well,
was like they started
essentially,
changing or
yeah.
something.
When she like I guess realized what happened to her sister, it kind of seemed like the heightened emotion like made her way stronger, and
Mm-hmm.
so her like radius of control expanded exponentially. And yeah,
Yeah.
because all of the
Which
neural pathways were just like
going crazy.
yeah.
Yeah. And
So that was a pretty
she,
cool part,
yeah,
like
that
seeing her power
was,
kind of expand and everything.
yeah, it was like basically a kilometer out from her
Yeah,
when before she was only able to expand it like 33 feet.
facts.
But now
So,
it was like a full
and it was
kilometer
so many
and
people,
she took over
and yeah,
everyone
everyone was
in the
just like
vicinity.
frozen. It
Yeah.
was like a force field. It was like kind of like iridescent, like kind of
Yeah, kind of looks
shaky.
like oil, like an oil spill almost with
Yeah,
all of the rainbow pieces and
exactly.
everything.
Yep. So she was able to like that moment, the torture plus the revelation about her sister, everything definitely like heightened her
Heightened for
emotions.
sure.
And then then she was speaking through the ninjas to Spider-Man.
Yep.
He apologized, said he was sorry, but
Mm-hmm.
that didn't stop her. She still sicked the ninjas on him, and they were
They
whooping
were
that ass.
brutal.
Oh my,
They jumped Spider-Man. That was crazy.
they were
Hitting him with the little electric
mm,
sticks.
yeah,
Like,
breaking
then they
down
had,
his little synthetic
yup,
webs.
like, then they had the guns that melted his webs. It wasn't
Yeah.
the ninjas that had that, but, like, one of the guys at the facility, one of
Okay.
the, like,
Right.
humans, I
Guards.
guess, one
Yeah.
of the guards had it and was, like, shooting his webs and they were just melting
Yeah.
until he like awakened his arachnid side.
Right, which again he had to do, didn't do it because he wanted to. He
Right.
did it because they had broken all his technology and he was out of options.
Yeah.
And then he took the dampener off and then boop, clicked,
Yeah.
magically can do everything now. Super spider. Like
Yeah, literally so
but
much
yeah, I just would have
stronger.
loved to see all of that happen, all of that development, all of the strength that comes from that. I
Yes.
would love to see him hone it. Would have loved to see him fight unique and different opponents while utilizing that power.
Mm-hmm.
You know, heartstring stuff. I get it. I mean,
Yeah.
they were playing on that like lonely male epidemic, you know, the lonely guy is super sad and lonely, so then he gets violent. But it's just like, I don't know, like where is him trying to control his powers, you know, and
Yeah.
control that side
Instead
of
of just
himself.
suppressing it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because suppressing it, which funny enough, even as a stranger, MJ could clock that. Isn't suppressing something that's inside of you a bad thing?
Yeah,
And it's just
literally.
like, duh, like what are you doing, bro?
I know. Please.
Yeah,
Yeah, so there was definitely a lot that was again like left to be desired.
yeah,
Um
yeah.
and then yeah, just like character development, we didn't really get too much of it. I feel like
Mm.
because it was kind of just like a snap of a finger and then he was better, you know.
Yeah, like yeah, obviously he got better at web slinging, but we didn't
Right.
see him actually developing like his fighting powers or the strength. Like we didn't get to see much of that.
Right. And like
Um,
even the MJ thing, like he didn't go to her and like say, "Hey, this is what's happening." Like she
right,
just found the note and
exactly.
then was like, "What the heck?"
A second person found the note in the
Yeah.
movie.
So again,
um,
it's like forced character development. Again, it wasn't
yeah,
like him
like
developing as a
having yeah,
character.
he didn't have the tough conversation. She
Right.
just found the thing and yeah,
And
brought
then
it
like
up.
confronted him about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that definitely like took up a lot of time. Like it took up a lot of time. Some of those conversations,
Mhm.
even when they got to the Punisher's house, it was kind of like a slower part
Yeah.
of the scene. Obviously, the part once Jean kind of created that force field as well.
Mhm.
Again, that kind of was like a slower element. But I mean, the
Defo
ninja fight was right before
was
that,
super
which was sick.
cool. Yeah.
But
And then
yeah,
there
I
was,
mean,
yeah, like the heartfelt moment with the Aunt May and everything.
right. And
Yeah.
like, you know, he had the reunion with the friends
Yeah.
when MJ let him come over and play with his boy.
Yeah. In the
Let him
Spider-Man costume.
right,
In the
yeah.
costume.
Yeah. I mean so they were building their little spaceship
Yeah.
together. And then at the end of the movie he did the little handshake with him.
Yep, and that
So
was like the, I guess that triggered him to remember everything, I
I
guess.
guess,
That's
yeah.
kind of, I guess, what they were playing on. The kiss
Right.
didn't do anything for him. Well, she was possessed at the time,
Right. So
so who
maybe
knows?
yeah, but I
Who
mean Jean was
knows?
laughing at that. She was like, "What, you think True Love's kiss is gonna
Yeah,
break
that
the
was
spell?"
hilarious.
That was funny. And honestly, the banter between Peter and the Punisher was pretty good.
Yeah, it
I
was
definitely like their combo. Their
dynamic.
dynamic
Yeah.
was really good for sure.
Yeah,
They worked well
agreed.
together. Again, it was just like a bit confusing again because it kind of set them up like, all right, you're not really partners, but you have respect for each other, but now you're working together.
Right.
But yeah, I guess, you know, what was the plan? Did anybody think of the plan?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think so. There was no plan.
Yeah, there was never a plan. But yeah, the cinematography was
Yeah,
fantastic.
it
I think that's
was.
really one of the main things to note. Like they did a
Defo.
great job with the fight scenes that were in there.
Very true.
That ninja fight scene at the end was arguably one of the best that I've seen.
Dang,
And I feel
okay.
like that's why I was longing for more
More,
because I
yeah,
feel
more
like
of
they
his like realized power.
exactly,
Yeah,
yeah. And
yeah,
like how he's going to like utilize it, you know, and again, had they highlighted that more, we would have gotten to see like do his eyes turn pitch black every time or can he
right,
use some of the abilities without getting into that state and
right, yeah, because they
yeah,
showed him like the eyes dissolving during the ninja fight, but then again, it was
exactly.
like, can he go back and forth, or is it just like one, you
Exactly,
know?
yeah. And also, guys, spiders are pretty solitary, for being
Yeah,
honest.
that's
They are
true.
pretty solitary creatures. So, I mean, having a I mean, I guess that is kind of the battle of his human
Human,
side
yeah, versus
combating
like
his
the
like spider
spider.
side. But that's why I was confused though, is because like the solitary triggering his spider arachnid things to
Yeah, I
heighten.
guess because he's like falling further away from the human side of himself,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, yeah, that
Yeah,
makes
so
sense.
he's
So
like
getting more
going more
spider.
towards the
Yeah, but I
spider.
guess something also I talked about in the car was like, I mean, again, not to get too analytical,
Nah,
obviously, it's a
nah, but
superhero movie, but it was like, those web ducts obviously exist already in his arm. It's not
mm-hmm.
like those are growing every time his spider levels increase. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So like even that element, I was just like, so he has the organ to shoot webs, but it's like dormant until his spider testosterone gets up to
Right,
a
I
certain level.
know.
I don't know.
Right. Was it like
I,
him going through puberty and like right when the test
right,
whatever the spider
right. Because
DNA
he was like having the
testosterone.
pain in his
Yeah,
wrist, so
so
it's
like
like
was it growing while he was going through his puberty or
right,
like cuz it never was a problem with his little like electronic things before.
right.
But like
But then it became a
why did
huge.
you need them before?
I don't
Why
know.
was that all? Why did that become a thing?
I don't know.
I don't get
I
it.
don't know.
Anyway, I
Because
don't
that's just
know.
not spider like at all. But
No.
yeah, I don't know. I think overall great movie.
Yeah.
It had everything, right? It had action, had a little like rom-com vibe
Yeah.
in there. Um and the action that did exist in it was very good.
It was
Like
really good.
the videography, cinematography, whatever it was fantastic. They
Yeah.
did a great job with the swinging through Manhattan.
Yeah.
Those elements were fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what would you say overall you would give it out of 10?
Ooh, um, for Marvel, I guess for me, I'll go with a seven.
Okay.
I'll give
You
it a
stole
seven.
the number right out of my mouth.
Did
I was also
I?
thinking
Yeah.
7.
Hey,
Yeah.
seven gang.
Facts.
Yeah, yeah. And the seven specifically is just due to the things that we noted. I just think that I would have loved to see more of the spider metamorphosis that he was going through unfold,
Yeah.
in terms of like his abilities and his powers. I think skipping over a lot of those fights with key villains and then not having kind of like an end big villain that they needed to beat kind of,
Right.
and the friendly fire gunshot. I feel like
Yeah, there were some
those
elements
elements
that
definitely like took away
yeah,
from me,
I agree.
and only a
Yeah.
white man could get away with walking into a random person's apartment with some flowers. I
I
mean,
know,
ain't
yeah.
no way someone colored like me is getting away with that. They would be like, hey, who do you know here, buddy?
No.
I would have been stopped at the door, but nah, not Peter's.
Not Peter.
Yeah,
Yeah,
anyway.
no.
What about you?
Yeah, so I would definitely say like the I don't know, the kind of like disjointed storyline. Obviously, I
Mm,
know it was all like going towards one big finale at the end of like
yeah,
coming together, but I do think that it could have been more cohesive kind of throughout between Spider-Man and Jean.
yeah.
Um and then yeah, I feel like it would have been nice to have more like friendship development earlier in the movie, like more
Mm,
of that, more I don't know, there was just such a slow build up to where the action happened was such a I feel
yep.
like small portion of the
That's
movie.
what I'm
It
saying.
would
We
have been
needed
nice
way
to
more
have like
action.
more earlier on.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I
yeah,
feel like it just left a bit to be desired, but again,
yeah,
like great. I mean, they did a great job. The acting was good. I mean, love
yeah,
Zendaya, of course.
yeah. Tom Holland was great.
Yeah, Tom
Also,
Holland
yeah,
did a
he was
great job.
fantastic. Yeah,
And yeah, so it had a lot of really great elements, but it did leave a little bit to be desired.
yeah, 100%. Just because, again, like if you think of like Iron Man or like Thor, like those movies in the past, like when the movie has their name in the title, like the movie is about them.
Yeah.
Like it is Iron Man. Like everything is Iron Man. He's in almost every scene. We know that there's a villain. He's trying to like, that I guess like that's kind of like the structure maybe we're more
Mm-hmm.
traditionally used to. But I think Marvel right now, I think a little bit of what they're a damper on the storylines they're creating is all of these mixes and crossovers and
Yeah, I think
this
they're
one
having
and
like an identity crisis.
yeah, just
Yeah.
there's too many people swapping into different films and
Yeah.
into different shows, and we're setting this person up to get a side show on Disney Plus, and then we're now going to get
Yeah.
another season of The Punisher now because he made this cameo. You know what I mean? But it's just like this was supposed to be Spider-Man. You know what I mean? The Spider-Man doesn't need the Punisher as a sidekick,
Yeah,
and he
true.
didn't need, uh, I don't know, almost like another mutant sad story to play alongside his
Yeah. Like
already
co-main
sad depressing
character.
story, right?
Yeah.
Like we were already getting the sadness from Peter Parker's story with his girlfriend kissing another guy, with the best friend making new friends. Like we were getting thrown all that sadness
Yeah.
already, and then you throw the sadness of like this other woman's story and her
Mm-hmm.
sister getting killed. It was just a lot in terms of that, when again it was supposed to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be learning about Spider-Man
Right.
and seeing Spider-Man develop and see what the new day for Spider-Man is once he
Yeah.
gets through this metamorphosis.
Yeah.
Um,
It was not a lot of Spider-Man.
yeah, so I
Mm-mm.
think they missed the mark with that, a little bit. But again, like I think their cinematography definitely earned them a good bit of points in some of those categories,
Definitely.
because again, like there wasn't enough of the spider. There wasn't
Mm-hmm.
enough of the spider, that development. So
Yeah, very true. I fully
yeah.
agree. Yeah.
And so like my thing with Marvel is just like, find just get back into like back in the day when it was like when Avengers are having their movie, that's when we can bring all of the characters together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's when it can be everybody comes in
Yeah.
this movie, But I think like if you're making the film just about the Spider-Man, like, let him do it. I don't know. I feel
Yeah.
like Tom Holland is a strong enough actor with a strong enough profile and presence that he could have been doing that investigation without having to get the Russian lady involved.
Or
Bro is
like working with the
literally
police.
building this technology in his apartment, but then he has to go ask for help to run a simple search.
I know.
Come on, man. Like that was just weak for me. That's weak. We didn't need
Yeah.
her in there, but it's just like they wanted to give it an homage to retain the relevance of that other part of Marvel. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
now it's like people are like, oh, let me go watch her movie. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, got it.
Maybe, but I'm just
No,
saying, like, we
honestly,
didn't need
yeah.
that. We didn't need that, right?
Because who was she?
She's from like the
Black
new
Widow, did that
Avengers.
they
Yeah,
said?
the Black
Okay.
Widow, right? Yeah, she's a new Black Widow now
Okay,
that
got it.
what's her name? Natasha died, but
Oh, okay. Wow, I didn't even know.
yeah, that was like
I
that's
don't
like Endgame stuff though.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, like so she is the new Black Widow. But yeah, I
Okay.
just felt like again, why was she there? Like I don't know. I felt like the whole point of building up the relationship with Peter and like the police officer woman that he was always on the phone
Yeah.
with, literally the whole movie. Wouldn't that have been his point of contact to be
Yeah,
getting information about the police stuff and their side of it?
definitely.
Right? Like I don't know. Like why? Otherwise, why is he always on the phone with
I
this woman?
know.
Like, bro, I don't know. They were just always on the phone throughout.
Yeah, I don't
I don't
know.
know. That was
Yeah,
a little
he
weird to me. I
definitely
just feel
like
like
she was like a mother figure to him
right,
almost.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't think that was necessary. I thought the Hulk part could have been sick. I think that should have been a much longer fight scene. And
Mm-hmm.
if that would have been an all-encompassing fight scene, I think it would have been made way more sense.
Yeah.
Where it's like, something happened, maybe she got in his head, maybe something happened with Hulk breaking out of Bruce's control, or the dampener breaking in an attack or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and that unleashing the Hulk. But a
Yeah.
full-on Spider-Man plus his new power in full-on Hulk fight,
That
that
would
would have
have
been
been
fire.
sick.
But they
Yeah.
did not give us that.
Nay,
They
they
did
did
not give us
not.
that.
No, they
That
did
would have been
not.
sick. My goodness.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think overall 7 out of 10. I would
Yeah.
recommend for people to see. Obviously, the Marvel heads are going to go
Course.
crazy.
Yes.
The
I mean, the
Spidey
movie
heads
theaters were
packed.
packed.
It was hard to get tickets. I'll
Yeah.
be honest. It was hard to get tickets. Tickets were sold out at all times of the day.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
So
So they're
lucked
going to
out.
be very successful with their
Box
box
office. Yeah.
office and all of those things.
Definitely.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
overall, good film. It was a good watch. It was a good movie. We enjoyed it.
yeah.
We just had some notes.
We had a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, we enjoyed it.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, so we saw today. Today we saw Spider-Man: Brand New Day. Just came out today, August
31st. No, July
July
31st.
31st. Just came out. Yeah, and it was a good watch. We rated it a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
We do recommend the watch. We thought there were a lot of great elements. The cinematography is unbelievable. But yeah, we had a couple notes.
Yes. So if you made it this far,
Thanks for watching.
and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
Bye.